Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Ranking Members. Great to be here. Representative Stefanik, I enjoy calling you that, at least for now. I feel like I have a little bit of advantage over so many, having served with you in the House, and bring nothing but good comments about your service there and favorable impressions of your work there. Also enjoyed serving with you on the first China Task Force, and appreciate your work in protecting Taiwan and protecting Israel. And to talk just a little bit about Taiwan first and China first, UN Resolution 2758 shifted a recognition of China at the UN from Republic of China to the People's Republic of China, but didn't really address Taiwan and their status and their sovereignty. China has been since working to reinterpret the resolution to reassert sovereignty over Taiwan, and particularly in international organizations. One example of this that kind of jumps out is International Civil Aviation Organization. They've implied Taiwan as part of China in a press release, and this was most noticeably evident during a viral World Health Organization interview at the height of COVID-19. When a Hong Kong journalist asked about Taiwan's pandemic response, the official avoided the question about Taiwan, stating, "We've already talked about China." And all parts of China, implying Taiwan was part of China. I think the American taxpayers, I think you and I would agree on this, should not be subsidizing the salaries of people who undermine Americans' allies. So can we talk specifically about how we counter China's influence in the UN, specifically ensuring that Taiwan gets fair treatment as it comes to China? And there's a lot of organizations, world organizations, that Taiwan can belong to. And we'd love to just hear your thoughts on that.
Yes, thank you so much. It's great to see you on this side of the Capitol now, Senator Curtis. It was a real privilege to serve with you for many years in the House. You and I have worked extensively on this issue, both setting up the China Task Force, which led to the bipartisan Select China Committee. As I mentioned in some of the previous questions, I am committed to making sure that Taiwan has the most maximum meaningful participation within the UN system, as it should in all international organizations. We have to be vigilant, both in the long term and the short term, to make sure that China is not able to make significant inroads with the CCP in international organizations. I also want to point out that I have a record on this issue legislatively. Over the past decade, I have voted consistently in support of defensive aid to Taiwan. I believe deeply in deterrence to avoid war in the Indo-Pacific. And you can look at, whether it was the last major vote we took on that defensive aid package, I voted in support of it.
Yeah, thank you, and would love to help you in those efforts. I think it's very important for the U.S. and for our taxpayers. I sponsored a bill over in the House that would actually require the State Department to rank the agencies in the UN by order of importance. And you can see on one hand, we have the Security Council, where it's important for us to have a veto vote, and then UNRWA. And yet the State Department insists that these are all equal and all important in the U.S. interest. I understand the President plans to defund some of these. Can you give me a sense from your perspective how you begin to with your team, limited resources, figure out which of these agencies are actually important in the best interest of the United States and which ones we need to address?
Thank you. We want to do a full assessment of all the UN sub-agencies and making sure that every dollar goes to support our American interests. As the U.S. ambassador, I believe that is my responsibility, to stand up and support the American people and President Trump's America First, Peace Through Strength. In terms of our assessment as this confirmation process. For example, the UN Security Council is in a different position than UNRWA, which I think should be at the bottom of the list. And I have voted to defund UNRWA, and we've discussed that extensively today. But I am interested in that bill and in seeing the outcome of that bill. I would like to see a ranking, and we want to do that assessment working with Secretary Rubio and working with President Trump and the National Security Council to make sure that the programs we're funding represent our values.
Sometimes back home, you hear the calls to defund United Nations, and it's more nuanced than that. And so to the extent that we can better clarify which of these agencies are helpful and in the U.S. interest and which are not, I think would be terrific.
And I think connecting it to the American people directly. For example, take the World Food Program, connecting that to our American farmers. I have a very agricultural district. That's important to make that connectivity to the American people who are very interested in where their taxpayer dollars are going, as they should be.
Yeah, thank you very much. I yield my time.
Thank you.